Everybody's pissing and moaning. We had a different coach come up and give a motivational speech in the afternoon each day. He was our running backs coach at the time by the name of Derek Foster. Coach Foster came up there, toughness and pushing through. He got real razzed up as his speech progressed. We had a video coordinator named Rocky. He finishes his speech and he goes, "Hit it, Rock!" And Set It Off by Boosie Badass played. As a young white man, it was my first time hearing that song, Set It Off. Yeah, we finna set it off. You heard me? I'm finna put you in the trash bag. Tired of all these knowing me right now, for real. You wanna talk shit? You wanna run your mouth? You want some gangster strut your mother in the house? We'll set this jaw. Yeah. And that was my first time hearing Set It Off. At Samford University, it was the third or fourth week of camp. We were about where teams are right now. Right before the season, everybody's pissing and moaning. We had a different coach come up and give a motivational speech in the afternoon each day. He was our running backs coach at the time by the name of Derek Foster. Coach Foster came up there, toughness and pushing through. He got real razzed up as his speech progressed. We had a video. Fresh lip pillar, get the mind right, baby. Welcome back to the damn show. There's a new song here. Welcome to the South, huh? I might need to cut this up. I literally just downloaded this fresh off the internet. Let's hear it. Off of artlist.io. Welcome to the SEC. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. Fresh lip pillow. Get the mind right. Happy Friday, Miss Lindsay. Hey, man. This track's got it feeling like a real SEC talk show, doesn't it? Happy Friday, everybody. Hey, as always, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I know Miss Lindsay is. Anybody else in here? Well, hope to put together a good show for you today. And drop anything in the chat that you guys want to hear us talk about. Any questions? We'll be looking at the chat all day. So here's what we got for the weekend. We got 4 division round games to decide who's going to the conference championship. You got 2 teams fresh off byes, Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks. You got 2 Saturday games, 2 Sunday games, and then on Monday, we will watch the finale of the most corrupt college football season ever. And it's only getting worse. College football is in complete disarray. We might spend the majority of the show talking about that. But we've got clean, organized, top-of-the-line competition from the NFL and a lot of shady NIL dealings that are really causing college football to crumble before we know it. The interesting thing is that the product is better than ever for college football. People are more interested than they've ever been in college football. I think that's because people like to watch train wrecks. That's genuinely how I feel about it. We're going to cover it all today on the show right now. Divisional round, greatest weekend of NFL football in my mind. This is where you see the teams that really deserve to be there. And somebody said, can you do Baby Shark? Baby Shark, do, 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 do. Can I hear a song about Lonnie Loves by Princess? This is Modesty Jackson in the chat. Some YouTube emojis. Let's get right into this thing. Divisional round. We got at 4:30 p.m. tomorrow to kick off division weekend. Bills going on the road to play the Denver Broncos. Saturday night in prime time, you're getting an NFC West matchup, a rematch of Week 18. San Francisco will go on the road to Seattle and face the 12th man. The nation will be on notice watching this Seattle fan base work against their division foe in the San Francisco 49ers. Sunday at 3, you got Patriots hosting the Houston Texans, arguably the greatest defense in recent memory. Some people are starting to call it the greatest defense ever. I don't think so. But listen, man, look, I'm all about setting new precedents. I'm all about record-breaking units and players coming through. I personally got sucked in to I think it was, what's that? There's an arm of NFL media, and it's called like NFL Throwback or NFL Run. I don't know what it's called, but the real ball knowers will know what I'm talking about. It's the NFL logo with the like rewind in the middle of it. That's their logo. It's a child of the NFL media empire. Anyway, got sucked into an hour long. And it was a glorious hour. I still haven't finished all of it yet, but it's a recap of 2000 all the way up to 2010, the 2000s, and it recaps every season. And it always seemed from 2000 to 2010. I'm 29, right? So the prime of my football watching years as a child, it was Brady, it was Roethlisberger, it was Phillip Rivers, it was Eli Manning, it was Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, LaDainian Tomlinson. And so it was kind of fun to relive those years. But every year it seems like the most badass games come in the divisional round. I don't know what it is. It's something in the air. It's teams with chips on their shoulders trying to prove themselves, trying to exercise demons. And that's what Denver is going to try to do this Saturday to kick off the AFC weekend. We talked about it yesterday. I worry that with the current restrictions, especially in the NFL, on coaches with how they can have their teams practice, with the physicality limited in practice a lot, I worry that the same thing that's happened in college football the last 2 years with teams with byes going 1-7 might happen to a team like the Denver Broncos. I think the Bills have a certain kind of juju that's hard to characterize. I think Josh Allen's got a certain kind of pizzazz to him this year. And I think what's fueling that is the narrative from fans that this is Josh Allen's year. There's no Burrow. There's no Mahomes. There's no Lamar. That's the main narrative anyway. This is a team game, though, guys. It's not all up to quarterbacks. It's a big part up to quarterbacks. And Josh Allen seems like one of the few players I've seen in a long time in the last 5-10 years, the last couple of games, where he has just single-handedly taken over and put the team completely on his back. The Bills had to decide whether Ed Oliver and Curtis Samuel are going to be active today. I don't know what the update is on that, but I know that they've already announced that. Denver, obviously the number 1 seed, they're looking for their first playoff win this season, obviously having a bye week in the wild card. They got a loaded defense, elite unit. I'm starting to hear that the Houston Texans defense has eclipsed the Denver Broncos defense. Not to compare apples to oranges, but that's just the narrative that I've been accustomed to the last couple of weeks, is I've been hearing more about the Houston Texans unit than I have the Denver Broncos unit. They go up to Mile High. And, guys, I have the Bills in this game. I think Josh Allen's going to take it over. I don't know how cold it's going to be in Denver. We're going to talk about some other games this weekend coming up where weather is going to be a big factor. Really 2 out of the 4. New England is supposed to be sub-zero. Chicago is supposed to be even colder. We'll have a whole discussion about Matt Stafford and his experience playing all those years in the NFC North. Does he have the edge on Caleb? We'll get into that. But the thing with
the Denver Broncos is if I know that Sean Payton, I know that their defensive coordinator over there was it Vance Joseph, has been they've probably been planning around Josh Allen all week. I would expect to see a lot of spying from Denver's defense, which even with spies, it seems like it's hard to keep Josh Allen contained. It seems like really, here's what I've been seeing with Buffalo. I think Buffalo has the tush push down better than Philadelphia, the creator of it at this point. I haven't seen a single 4th and 1 this year, 4th and inches this year, where Josh Allen didn't get it. The guy is giant. The guy is huge. And he's tough. He's got the mentality. I mean, I don't want to glaze him or nothing, but this season when Buffalo's lined it up on 4th and 1, everybody's known what's going to happen, and Josh Allen seems to convert every single time. Josh Allen seems to completely demoralize the defenses he's faced the last couple of weeks. I think Buffalo gets it done, and it hurts me because Buffalo Bills fans and Cincinnati Bengals fans used to have a really good relationship back when Andy Dalton won the game against the Ravens in 2014 with that Hail Mary that got Buffalo. It was a meaningless game for Cincinnati, but Cincinnati wins against the Ravens on the last play and vaults Buffalo into the playoffs. You see the clip of all the Buffalo Bills players watching the Bengals get that desperation win in a meaningless game in Week 17 in 2014. You see them react. You see them erupt. Buffalo Bills fans the next day are donating to Andy Dalton's charity. We had good blood back in the day, Bills and Bengals fans, and all of a sudden, I think it was the Damar Hamlin saying, really, Bills fans started getting nasty, and so it's been kind of easy for me to root against them as of late. But objectively, you gotta take. I'm gonna take the Bills in this game. I just don't believe that Denver has the offense to really make a run. But listen, Bo Nix has done his job. Bo Nix has absolutely done his job this year. Sean Payton, no better coach for a young quarterback like Bo Nix to have. Now, I will say, Bo Nix was in college for 7 years. Bo Nix has been a pro quarterback longer than people think he's been a pro quarterback. He's older than people think he is, I think, in his second year in the NFL. So we'll see how cold it is in Denver. That won't really affect the Buffalo Bills, who play in the cold perennially. And we move on to the second game of the divisional round. Just a few weeks ago, the 49ers and the Seahawks were battling for the number 1 overall NFC seed. Now they face each other in a divisional round with everything on the line. San Francisco will go down to Seattle, or go up to Seattle, to face really the 12th man. And I said it earlier in the week on the show, Kyle Shanahan deserving of a Coach of the Year award in my mind, getting a sputtering team to 13 wins at this point. Now, 60% of the snaps were missed this season by the 6 highest paid players on the Niners. They won't have Kittle, and you guys know, if you're watching this show, you know ball, and if you know ball, you know that a big discussion that's been happening is that damn power plant down there by the 49ers practice facility. Agents are talking about it. Players might start avoiding playing for the 49ers organization if they can afford it because of this cell tower viral discussion going around. Guys get hurt on the 49ers way more than any other NFL organization. I know it's something we've been talking about on here for ages. Really, since we started the show, we've been asking the question on here, why do 49ers players get hurt so much more often than the average player does? And listen, I think I'm only within my qualms to pick one number one seed to get upset this weekend. So despite the job that Shanahan's been doing this season, despite the fact that really you look on paper, you think that this Seattle team is better than San Francisco at this point, just with the personnel side of things. You wonder what's going to go down. It's a division game. We talk about it all the time. Division games, anything can happen. I wouldn't be surprised for either team coming out victorious. It's going to be a really fun battle. I see that game maybe being one of the best all weekend. The 12s are going to create a show for the whole football world to see on Saturday night. And I think a lot of people are going to watch that game and think, damn, these Seattle fans, they might have, one out of every 5 of them might have blue hair or whatever. But they got some pretty damn good fans up there. I've never been up to Seattle. I'd like to see a game there one day. But for some reason, these damn blue-haired liberals up in Seattle show out for Seahawks game. They show out, man. And you're going to see them at full force in a division matchup on Saturday. The way things are shaping up in college and pro football right now are complete cinema. And we'll talk about the state of college football here in a little bit. I'm kind of going to speed run through these division games. But college football in complete and utter disarray right now. Complete and utter. But it's got higher viewership than it's ever had. There's more interest in college football than it's ever had. The product on the field has been tremendous the last couple weekends, but it's in complete disarray. And the opposite side of it is the NFL. The NFL is completely clean, completely regulated. Everything's in check with the NFL. And I'm sitting here in my seat wondering why in the hell college football doesn't just copy the NFL pound for pound. All college football is at this point is semi-professional football attached to these institutions across America. That's all it is at this point. I hesitate to even call it college football. Diego Pavia, the Vanderbilt quarterback, I think went on Paul Feinbaum and admitted that he wasn't going to class playing in his 6th or 7th year for Vanderbilt. Wasn't going to class. These guys aren't student athletes anymore. They're semi-professional football players. So we'll get into that here in a second. Listen, I think San Francisco's done a tremendous job. I think Kyle Shanahan deserves Coach of the Year regardless of how this game turns out. I hope I don't watch these takes on Sunday or Monday and think, God, what was I thinking? But I'm only comfortable taking one seed to get upset this weekend. And I think that Buffalo's got a better chance to upset Denver, much better chance than San Francisco's got to upset Seattle. But I could be completely wrong. I just think with too much rest, regardless of the level, it takes a really special unit to stay sharp, stay ready. And for that reason, I'm picking Denver to get upset, and I'm taking Seattle to get the win at home in a tough game. It's going to be absolute cinema against San Francisco 49ers. We got Patriots hosting the Houston Texans. This is maybe the most intriguing game of the entire division slate for me. Why? You got a young quarterback on one side vying for an MVP award. He's new money in the NFL, as you might call it. Drake May, Mike Vrabel, new on the scene in New England, turned it around in 1 year. Prolific team, brought greatness back to Foxborough in record time. That's credit to Robert Kraft, in my opinion. And then on the other side, you got the best defense in the league right now, the most intimidating for sure. They strike fear into their opponents. They run to the ball and drive through you. They tackle you to the ground. They get up and they celebrate. They stand over you. They got 3 of the biggest defensive studs that you can find in all of pro football. Daniil Hunter, Derek Stingley, and Will Anderson all humming at the best of their abilities, haven't dealt with much injuries, and this unit is definitely the most feared in the league. So it's going to be a clash of two forces in sub-zero, what I'm hearing, weather up in Foxborough. This is the beauty of it, guys. This is the beauty of January football. Why are we putting all these franchises under domes? It's ruining football. The nature of the game is to be played outside, and the absolute pinnacle of grit, perseverance, beauty, all in one thing, is watching a cold-ass January divisional playoff game. That's just the untethered reality of it. Untethered reality, that doesn't really make sense. You guys get what I'm saying, though. We got to stop putting stadiums indoor. Arrowhead Stadium's about to be indoor. I think the Tennessee Titans stadium coming up is supposed to be indoor. They want to put the new Chicago Stadium indoors. I say stop it. Let's keep football pure, and part of keeping football pure is having January division games in the coldest environments, Boston, Chicago, and having them outside. Patriots are favored by 3. Typically, Vegas will give the home team 3 points, 4 points. So without the home field advantage, it's basically a pick'em game. It's obviously Mike Vrabel's first year. Fast turnaround. That's the theme in college and pro football right now, is fast turnaround. Drake May's second year, he's really turned it on. And Houston, like I said earlier, I really hesitate to say this, they might have the best defense in documented history to this point. Texans will bring fans. They'll bring their own fan energy, 3 p.m. Sunday kickoff. And outside of championship hopes, this is Drake May's game to prove that he's the MVP. I stated a couple weeks ago, Matt Stafford had that really rough game against the Atlanta Falcons in a game that the LA Rams should have won. Like I said multiple times this week, I feel like the LA Rams played their best. They were playing their best football like 7 weeks ago. That's not a good symptom for a team wanting to make a Super Bowl run. You want to be playing your best ball now. But I'm sure Sean McVay will come with a good game plan down there in Chicago. And we'll talk about that game. That's the last game we're going to cover here. So let's finish up. Let's get our prediction for the Patriots hosting the Houston Texans. It feels like an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. It's going to be really cold weather. And I'm going to take the Texans. I think that defense will smother them. Now, the Patriots will come prepared now, and I'm expecting for my predictions to miss on at least half of these games. Right? I don't have a crystal ball. I'm out here telling you guys the facts and making my own deduction on it. But I'm always going to roll with defense. I'm always going to roll with physicality. I'm always going to roll with the South, baby. So give me the Houston Texans to go on the road and stun the New England Patriots, completely smother this offense. And, again, I could be wrong. Vrabel might have them freaking ready. And Vrabel's definitely telling them all of this week that everybody expects you guys, talking to his team, the Patriots, everybody expects you guys to go out there and be scared. Everybody's going to expect y'all to come out in the cold and not know how to handle it. How the hell are you going to respond? That's what Mike Vrabel's doing. That's why a head coach like him is so valuable, because he might not be calling all the plays, but he's definitely going to have the boys amped up. And that's really, I posted a clip about that last night. On the short forums, and I got some people getting pretty mad about the idea that play callers aren't as valuable anymore at the head coaching position. You can have gurus at the OC, you can have gurus at the DC, and be kind of a rah-rah guy at the head coach. I said that's what's most valuable in the NFL. Look at Mike Vrabel. So when you have a coach like Vrabel, everything goes out the window. Everything goes out the window. The Patriots could come out and completely be unafraid of this Houston Texans unit. I'd imagine Mike Vrabel's really familiar with D'Amico Ryans. 2 former players, by the way, that played for the organizations that they're now coaching, facing off against each other. 2 organizations with the same colors as well. So that'll be an interesting game. But I'm going to take Houston Texans against the Patriots just because I'm defense biased. And I think the Texans got a great unit. Everybody seems to be on jocking the Houston Texans defense right now. So don't be surprised at all if the opposite happens and they end up laying an egg and New England advances. I would say that's what Vegas thinks is going to happen. But again, it's going to be a hell of a game. We are embarking on a 3-day weekend, holiday weekend of football, ending with the national championship on Monday. And we'll get into college football right after we cover the last division game of the weekend. The Bears are going to host the LA Rams. Like I said, the Rams are a team I feel like peaked 7 or 8 weeks ago at this point. So I don't think the Rams are playing their best football late in the year. That could all change in the span of a week. This is pro football. You've got the best of the best game planning and scheming, so everybody knows what's on the line in this divisional round, a trip to the conference championship. So don't be surprised at all if the Rams come out ready to go. Lord knows how they're going to prepare for this cold weather. This is going to be a historically cold game in January in Chicago at Soldier Field outdoors. Again, this is the way football should be played, guys. Grit, perseverance, define the conditions external to you, and just going out there and playing your best ball. We're going to lose that if we start putting all these stadiums indoors, guys. I know it's more pleasant for the fans, but the fans have got to be gritty too, man. The fans are a part of the game here. And I think the Bears fans are going to be pretty rowdy. Everybody's saying that Matthew Stafford has all of this experience in the NFC North and thus playing in cold games. But the statistics, the facts of the matter actually don't demonstrate that. Both quarterbacks, Caleb Williams and Matthew Stafford, are both 2-2 in cold weather games. Now, I don't have a metric to what defines a cold weather game in this context, but both quarterbacks seem to have equal pedigree in cold weather. Again, I don't know what cold weather means in this context. Caleb actually played in games colder than Stafford ever has, is what I'm reading here. Stafford's coldest games were against Green Bay and Philadelphia, never in Chicago. And let me tell you guys, Chicago's a different kind of cold. I used to live in Indianapolis working for the Colts, and I'd go up to Chicago every now and then. And I thought it was cold in Indy. And then you drive 2 hours up, and you get out of the car in Chicago, and you damn near bust your face on some ice that you didn't see sitting on the road right next to where you parked at. It's a different kind of cold in Chicago. So really, when you look at it, yes, Stafford spent damn near a decade in the NFC North, but his record in cold games is right around 500, the same as his counterpart in this division game, Caleb Williams. Rams are favored by 3.5 on the road. Bears got the home field advantage, but Chicago fans are new, at least recently, to games of this intensity level. I'm going to give the New England fans a lot of credit here. Their organization, their franchise has been great for a long time. And so their fans are expert shit talkers, New England Patriots. I've never experienced it firsthand, but I've heard from a lot of people that the Patriots fans are some of the best shit talkers in the land. They know exactly when to get loud and make their mark on the game because they've been in these moments so many times before. It's not that long ago, objectively, when Brady was still in the building, cruising these guys down the road. And these fans know what to do. That's going to be a factor in the New England Patriots game. It makes me nervous about taking the Texans because the fans are going to play a part in these games. They're going to play a huge part in these games. So I'm going to go against the grain and take Chicago in this game against the LA Rams. See Caleb Williams advance to the NFC Championship for the first time in his career. The question is, though, is Caleb going to play like shit for the first 3 quarters of the game like he has seemingly every single week. And are the Bears going to dig themselves a hole in the process that's too deep to recover from? That's what makes me hesitate, and probably why Vegas has the Rams favored on the road in cold-ass Chicago. If I was Sean McVay, I would have shipped my team up to Chicago at the beginning of the week and found a place to practice in that cold all week. I wonder if that's what they did. I can't confirm that while I'm live here. But if I was Sean McVay, I would have flown these boys up to Chicago, find a freaking high school field to practice at all week, outside in the cold. And I'd be shocked if they didn't do that. Again, we're live, so I can't confirm that. But if I was Sean McVay, that's what I would do. I'd have these boys practicing in this weather, used to it. Because there's no way you can replicate that kind of cold in L.A., practicing in L.A. all weekend or all week. It's interesting. I'd like to see what they do. Maybe we confirm it on Monday or not. So give me the Bears. Give me the Bears at home. Again, the Bears. All of these predictions could be wrong, by the way. The best people in this profession, by the way, have cold takes a lot of the time, which was what makes me comfortable going on air and making takes like this. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're wrong. The Bears could very well dig themselves a hole in the first three quarters that is too deep. But I know that the Bears are aware of that. They're going to do whatever they can for that not to happen. All right, so what do we have going on in college football? We're at 30 minutes. I should be going to jiu-jitsu right now. It's a Friday. We'll let the hair down a little bit. Continue to unpack what's going on right now. We got the national championship game on Monday, and we will have the show on Monday to preview the national championship game. So I'm not giving you guys my prediction for the college football playoff championship yet. I know who I'm going to take, but it's a bit of bias. And if you guys are familiar with the show, you probably have an idea of who I'm going to want to take in the national championship. SEC bias, by the way. Think critically on that. You guys will find the answer on who I got. But this is the final weekend of college football, and it's happening amidst absolute institutional chaos. Yet, paradoxically, college football is chaotic, it's messy, and it's more popular than ever. The worse the sport gets, it seems like more people watch. We also like to watch train wrecks. So the reality of it is if we don't get on our horse, and I say we, like the fans, the media might have a little bit of control over it. I have to admit, we're a small show. That's why you guys need to subscribe so that we can continue to grow, maybe get some revenue flowing from here so that I can hire a producer. Because every single dollar we make from this, we're going to reinvest back into the show, make it better and better and better, and continue to show up. Consistency is all we can control. So subscribe. That's my pitch. And hope you're enjoying the program thus far, by the way. I don't know if I agree with the take that the college football product is deteriorating. I think that the institutions upholding college football are completely deteriorating. I still think like you watch the Fiesta Bowl from last week, Ole Miss versus Miami, quality ass game. The other semifinal was absolutely terrible. Not if you're an Indiana fan, but the competition was clearly not close. So, you know, it's kind of give and take with college football right now. You got some programs that are putting a good product out there. You got other programs that are showing up in national semifinal games and fumbling on their own running back like Oregon did. What an embarrassing performance for Dante Moore, quarterback over at Oregon. He's coming back to Oregon. But in college football, this is a bit of what I'm getting at. Is nothing is concrete anymore. Nothing is upheld. All the players in college football are acting like hoes. Excuse my language, but that's the best way to describe it. If you're a college football player right now, odds are you're a hoe. And I don't say that disrespectfully in any capacity. It's probably tough waters to navigate. But what I am saying is it seems like 9 out of 10 of these college football players right now are going to abandon any semblance of loyalty to a program for a bag. And that's hoe behavior. Lane Kiffin is the head hoe of college football right now. He's the guy setting examples for this kind of behavior. But people seek out chaos. They watch chaos deliberately, and I do think that all of the dysfunction in college football right now is drawing eyeballs to the sport, much like the dysfunction of the Cincinnati Bengals. My Bengals has come to light over the last few years, and more people are tuned in to what's going on there because it's so dysfunctional. And college football is more broken than ever. If you go and listen to the Paul Feinbaum show, you'll hear exactly what I'm talking about. Every day, these guys are talking about the disbelief they have in the disarray that is college football right now. And the only people responsible are these administrators, these university presidents, these conference commissioners. Everybody has a tribalistic outlook in college football right now. What may be good for another conference is bad for this conference. And the egos swell up. And you get a room full of all these conference commissioners and nothing gets done. It's a lot like Congress. The thing that's clouding everybody's creative ideas for progress in college football is the same thing that's hampering creative ideas for progress in our country, Congress. It's egos. It's big egos. It's the desire to be right over the desire to get things done. Why do you think the Cincinnati Bengals are where they're at? They care more about winning deals. I won that exchange with that player as opposed to let's just do what's best for the team. Let's do what's best for the team. Let's do what's best to keep things moving forward. And moving things forward is hard when you have a lot of egos involved. I understand that. I've never been in these boardrooms, but I know people. I'm close with people that have been in them for a long time. And it's clear that in college football, nobody respects the authority of the NCAA. In fact, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey is proposing moving all enforcement and governance back to the conference level, essentially giving the SEC the power to police itself. And let's be completely real, guys. I love the SEC. I grew up on the SEC. Fans of the show know that this is a SEC supremacist show. This is a SEC biased show. But if the SEC is self-policing itself, is it really going to self-police? Is it really going to self-police? Absolutely not. Because if you can cheat, whoever cheats the most in this era of college football is who's going to come out on top. I'm not saying the teams in a national title are cheating, although they could be. But let's take a step back from that. What is cheating in today's college football? That, I think, is the problem. We don't know what cheating is anymore. I got sources that tell me that deals aren't really what fans think they are anymore. Like this is kind of what I'm talking about with the ESPN headlines. You'll get a headline that says, so-and-so is signing a deal to return to Ole Miss, return to Tennessee. And fans think that's signed, sealed, delivered, that player's obligated to go play football there for that season. Not the case. That's the case in the NFL. In the NFL, you sign a contract, you are contractually obligated to step on the field and play quarterback for the New England Patriots. Not in college. It's kind of similar if Drake May, as a Patriot, signs a deal with State Farm to do commercials with State Farm. That's what we're talking about when we talk about NIL deals, apparently. NIL deals is, okay, you got the car dealership you're doing commercials for in Eugene, Oregon. You got the grocery store that you're doing commercials for in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's what is being said, to my knowledge, in these NIL contracts. And I think a lot of fans see that. ESPN will even break the headline as if that guy is contractually obligated to go and play for that school. That is not the case, and that is exactly a representation of the disarray that college football is in. So they're having the NCAA convention in Maryland this week. There's the fewest power conference attendees ever in the history of this conference, and kind of shows that conferences are abandoning the NCAA in real time. And Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, even said this: big problems not solved in big rooms filled with people. So the SEC and Big Ten, they're really the two big dogs in college sports these days, are discussing conference level enforcement, which will equate to no enforcement at all, even less enforcement than what's being laid down by the NCAA at this point. The NCAA has been rendered itself, under its own doing, completely powerless. So conferences are silencing themselves and making their own decisions without the NCAA. That's just the reality of college football right now. And again, the people responsible for this are the university administrators, the conference commissioners, and university presidents. These are people who can't seem to get anything done. And it's a lot more like politics than people would guess, I think. Maybe not. Let's read the chat here. Rumors that Darnold won't play. Oblique injury. Dang, Lindsay, really? I haven't seen a lick of that. I've been locked out of social media, so I would guess Darnold would play, though. Anna Garcia says, wow. Snowy said he got ice in his veins. I hope you're talking about me, brother. That'd be pretty badass. Dev Quinn, go baby, go. I'll keep on going for you, man. Louis Renault said, I have a hot take for you. Louis, what's your hot take, brother? Holler it at me in the chat. Everybody in the chat, if you want to hear me talking about something, you got me for a little bit longer, so feel free to pop whatever you want in there, and we'll talk about it for a second. Malcolm Bizette says, Josh McDaniels will make the difference for New England. I wouldn't doubt it at all, man. Josh McDaniels proved to not be a great head coach, but magnificent offensive coordinator for Mike Vrabel to have, for Drake May to have access to as a second-year quarterback. The high player turnover, and this is from Malcolm as well, the high player turnover, NIL money, unevenly distributed among players, and lack of parity among teams has turned college football into disorganized professional football. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Disorganized professional football is a great way to put it. Like I said, these kids sign deals, and I think people assume that the deal is that it contractually obligates them to play, and they don't. All the deal is cementing is you're going to do this commercial for this car dealership. You're going to do that social media post for that barbershop. And that's all the contract is. And fans see that of college football, and they think, oh, so-and-so's coming back to play. It's not guaranteed. That's how dysfunctional it is. I think there has been a lot more parity in college football, though. Specifically, I think the reason for that parity, perceived parity, which is where I kind of disagree with you, Malcolm, in the chat, is I do think there's been more parity. And the reason I think that is because growing up, the SEC was always winning national titles. And the reason for that is that the SEC has always been paying players before it was legal to do. And that's a lot of... Now, you can't argue the greatness of Saban. I think regardless of if they were able to do under-the-table dealings or not, that Saban's teams would have been great. But you have to attribute part of the greatness of Alabama's dynasty to the way they were able to recruit. And I've personally heard firsthand stories of steak dinners that were paid for in cash by Coach Saban. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to... Not that many people watch this show, but I don't want to get us in any unnecessary trouble. But I've heard firsthand stories about Alabama recruits getting some benefits that might be tad dicey back before NIL. So I think the perceived parity for me is the fact that the SEC is no longer dominant in any capacity. Let's go down the chat and then we'll finish up here. Jim Scannell, go Bears, go Bears. They cheated Notre Dame. They put Alabama in and got whipped. Go Riddance. Notre Dame had the 2 best running backs in college football. I know about Jeremiah Love, Jim, but who's the other guy? Maybe I don't know enough ball. So college football in complete disarray. NCAA convention in Maryland this week, and conferences are not showing up for it. So on the national level, NCAA they can't enforce across 1,000+ schools, 32 conferences. Power conferences want autonomy. Smaller, like-minded groups can make quicker decisions. That's the logic with Greg Sankey, the commissioner at the SEC, wanting to create power within the conferences, self-enforcement, but everybody knows they're not going to self-enforce because it's a tribalistic mindset. What's good for the SEC is bad for the Big Ten and vice versa. So they're not going to police themselves. They can fracture national competition entirely. We might live in a world where SEC teams only play other SEC teams. Big Ten teams only play other Big Ten teams. And that might be what we have to do. The Big Ten's so damn big, credit to Indiana. They've won the games they needed to win. They went 15-0. They've beaten great teams, especially over the last couple of weeks. Bama aside, because Bama was obviously not supposed to be in the playoff, a lot like Jim said. And this is coming from an SEC biased guy. Alabama didn't belong in the playoff. I drove 5.5 hours to go see that Rose Bowl game. I bet on Bama because my bias overtook what was actually in front of me. And it was just, I'm glad I checked off a bucket list thing going down to the Rose Bowl, but, it was the worst football game I'd seen in person in a long-ass time. Alabama just completely laid an egg. So there's that. What else do we have? Money laundering. Tennessee won't cheat. All this crazy stuff. Tennessee AD Danny White said Tennessee won't cheat in NIL like other schools in the portal. The problem is Tennessee just came off a terrible season. I think what the AD for the Vols was trying to do was claim some moral high ground on NIL stuff. The team just had a horrible year. The fans are unhappy. And if you're not cheating right now in college football, how the hell do you compete? You can't. And that's the whole center of what we're talking about, is that you have to cheat right now in college football in order to compete. I'm talking giving parents $8 an hour jobs at the university. I'm talking under the table cash that can't be traced beyond what's being reported. You can't trust any of the reports on college football these days. All these sources, all these insiders. You might as well listen to me because I ain't got that. I got some inside sources, but I ain't got the inside sources that a lot of these ESPN writers do. And it seems like 80 to 90% of the headlines coming on the behalf of college football end up not being true from insiders. So these deals, they are in college football, they are not what you think they are. You see somebody signing for $4 million, it could be $8 million. And 4 of that is coming under the table cash money. Some of that might be that you got the parent a job and it don't look no different on paper than it would in a normal situation. You guys got to think about this as college football fans. We all got to think about the disarray that college football is in. I don't know how much change we're going to bring about. Like I said, the size of our show is a bit small. We're growing. We're consistent. We're going to continue to be here and grow. But as it stands right now, all we can do is talk about it. Until Congress sees it as an important enough thing to get involved, listen, you got to copy pro football if you're college at this point. That's just the logical solution to this. So, look, I mean, we'll give the AD of Tennessee his flowers, and we'll tell him how good of a guy he is. But at the end of the day, your fans aren't happy. Your programs are in disarray. You got a great basketball coach over there at Tennessee, a good basketball team, but they're underachieving. So I don't really think this is what the Tennessee fans wanted to hear from their AD, ironically. We're not going to cheat. Oh, you ain't? All right. Have fun. You have to cheat. And that's the dysfunction of this whole thing right now in college football and college sports in general. I don't even really stay read up on what happens with basketball players, or, it's really football and basketball in college. But, I see all these other sports and I think, like, how does it work for them? You have outliers. You got women's basketball players like the Cavender twins who have become just complete celebrities, Angel Reese, all these other folks. But other than that, I would argue that the average college athlete probably isn't making much scratch if they're not playing football. I wonder how many basketball guys in college sports make good money. I wouldn't think that many either. Anyway, so, Tennessee's AD, he wants a virtue signal, all that stuff, but the fans are still pissed. The programs are all still seemingly underachieving. I think they got beat in their bowl game as well. So here's a real story. I mean, Danny White, it doesn't seem like he's claiming Tennessee's clean, but he's claiming Tennessee will be more transparent, more compliant to their competitors. What does that even mean, guys? And then the second thing, we kind of hinted at this. I think we're getting down the road here. I am going to try to go to jiu-jitsu, but class has already started, and I'm 20 minutes from the gym. Money laundering, standard practice in college sports these days. Somebody called into the Paul Feinbaum show today and described the actual system. You got above-table NIL deals, and then you got below-table cash payments, and this is apparently standard operating procedure across the SEC. And so this is what a caller said today. This is the SEC. Everybody in this conference cheats, and the cat's out of the bag now. There's going to be money above table, and there's going to be money below the table. Your mama got a job making $8 an hour. I mail $400,000 cash money in 20s and 50s. You're going to LSU. That's just how it goes, coach. That's going to be the money below table. Now then, you're going to give them the rest of the money above board. Parent gets $8 an hour job, fake employment. Player receives $400,000 in cash. This is just a scenario, by the way, untraceable. And additional above-the-table NIL deal money is what gets reported to you and is seen as compliant. That's what you see in the SEC headlines. So combined, you get the total compensation. But obviously, us, the fans, and most people outside are never going to know the total compensation from NIL. And the total compensation is way above what can be claimed legally. Cash payments that leave no trail. The family employment appears legitimate on paper. And the above-table NIL deal seems reasonable in isolation. The combined package is actually massive compensation for these kids. I'm glad these kids are getting what they're owed. But there's a different way to do this where we can be compliant. We don't have to cheat. Copy the NFL, college football. I know it ain't as simple coming out of my mouth when I'm not in these boardrooms, but cat's out of the bag. It's time to figure it out. So this is a standard model according to a caller with sources into the Paul Feinbaum show talking about the SEC standard practice across the SEC. You got your above table NIL money. That's what we see. That's what we get in our ESPN headlines when somebody signs a deal. And then you got the $400,000 cash in 20s and 50s coming in through the mail, along with help for the parents, whether that's employment. I'm sure they bought somebody, mama, a car for show or a house. A big crib for my mama. That's what I need when I come to play here, coach. I need a crib for my mama. All right, we're going to buy it under the name Trevor Leahy. Okay, so because this is too much compensation, we're going to do it under the table. And there's NIL clearinghouse. There's apparently NIL clearinghouse. It's called NIL Go. That's the clearinghouse for NIL deals. So any NIL deal over $600 has got to be submitted to NIL Go. The problem is that schools are offering money with absolutely no intention to submit what they're actually paying kids to the NIL clearinghouse. So the schools are offering guaranteed third-party money. The rules say collectives have to do it, not the schools, but the schools are offering it. and therefore not reporting it to NIL Go because the schools are not supposed to offer the guaranteed third-party deals. Everything is a mess if you guys didn't catch on to that at this point. Portal tampering is completely rampant. Lane Kiffin's going viral on Ole Miss Twitter again today because apparently he's speed dialing every single Ole Miss player trying to completely dismantle their roster. It seems like an act of revenge from Lane Kiffin, even though he's the one that wronged Ole Miss. It's completely rampant. And so Ole Miss fans are threatening on Twitter today to out Lane Kiffin even further about a relationship with a reported staff member whose name I can't remember, and probably for the betterment of the show shouldn't say her name anyway. But if you go on Twitter and you search Lanestein files right now, you'll find exactly what I'm talking about. Ole Miss fans are threatening to drop the ball. Apparently they got some bombshells still in their holster on their former coach, Lane Kiffin. So this is what's happening in college football right now. And if we don't get a hold on it, I don't know how we get a hold on it other than getting Congress involved, and we know how that goes in most cases. We might see the quality of college football continue to degrade, and therefore the cultures and towns that thrive on college football continue to descend into the depths as well. It could be a very dark time here in college football for a little bit. But with that being said, it's got more eyeballs on it than it ever has. People are interested in chaos. People are interested in train wrecks. Why do you think women watch all these reality shows? So it's a very paradoxical time as well. So this is the final weekend of college football amid all of this chaos. Monday's national championship game determines a winner in a sport that is systematically breaking its own rules. The championship game will be a legitimate competition. The system leading these teams to the college football national championship is completely corrupt. The winner will probably have some unfair advantages. I'm guessing that has to do with the bonus money that you get for being a national champion or appearing in a national championship. And the product is chaotic, and viewers absolutely love it. So the paradox of this 3-day weekend that we are about to embark on in the divisional round in the NFL and the college football national championship culminating the weekend on Monday is that we have a complete paradox. Legitimate competition with proper enforcement, rules and structure with the NFL division games, and then the Monday college football championship to end the weekend, the 3-day holiday football weekend, some might call it, with legitimate competition for the national title in a system with zero enforcement, rampant rule breaking, and institutional complete corruption. Same moment, completely different contexts. And yet both get massive viewership. I'm going to head to jiu-jitsu, guys, but I hope you guys enjoyed the last show of the week. We'll be back Monday to recap it all and preview, give you my official pick for the 2026 College Football National Championship. Until then, guys, y'all take care. Bye-bye now. Subscribe to the channel, guys. And like I said, man, if you guys are in the chat, pop something in, and we'll talk about it here on the show. I want to get call-ins. I want to do it. It's just a daunting task getting that set up. So someday we'll have that. I think that'd be really cool. Whether you leave a voicemail or call in live, that could be a bit chaotic. People might love that. We got the show on all audio platforms if you want to listen to the show while being able to lock your iPhone. I know people talk about that when watching YouTube podcasts. And as always, guys, take care, keep stunting, stay beautiful, and let's have a fun time watching these games this weekend, all right? Subscribe to the channel, damn it. Thank you.